Right, that's another defeat for Forest. It's becoming a familiar trend. 9 games without a win for Forest now, and that is 7 games for Ange Postecoglou into his entire tenure, and he's not won any of them so far. Bit deflated, unsurprisingly. I don't really know what to say at this point because it's just all really quite sad and not good enough, really. When you look at how last season was, absolute dreamland stuff, for it to have fell down like this, it's really deflating. And I'm sure any Forest fan can surely agree with that. It was a strange team from Forest. We didn't really expect this to go very well. We didn't think we were going to win this. I think everyone thought we were going to get thrashed. I wasn't completely sure that was going to happen. I wouldn't have been shocked if we had lost this by a lot more than 2 goals. But I also thought, well, Newcastle haven't had the greatest start to the season, so maybe it won't be a hammering. But I certainly didn't think we'd get anything from this game. I think we did probably better than I thought we would. But ultimately, it's still another loss. It's still another game without a win. And I've been saying this, and lots of us have been saying it, no matter how well you keep playing, and well is probably an overstatement, even if you're still seeing good things in games, if you're still not winning constantly, you can't really use that anymore as an excuse. You've got to look at the bigger picture and realise that your team is not winning games. And at the moment, we're not winning at all. So I don't really think you can, okay, there's been good moments with Ange, but it's just all not good enough because we're not putting the ball in the back of the net enough. And we can't rely on just outscoring teams because you will inevitably concede, especially with the way we are setting up. We did play a bit differently in this game. It was a bit of a different team. Cunha coming in for his first start. I thought he was probably one of the best players on the pitch for Forest. I think he looked really solid. Yates coming back in. I think it felt like a last throw of the dice. It almost felt like Cooper's tactic away at Wolves when he was on the brink. You know, he just kind of last throw of the dice, do a different sort of thing. Savona coming in. Obviously, we didn't have Zinchenko or Aina. Gibbs-White playing out wide again. Wood seems to be favoured in the Premier League. I mean, he played well in Europe when he came on, but yeah, wasteful really again from Wood. But then again, he didn't really have many chances. Back 3 as well. He didn't really do that much at all with Spurs. So I'm a bit surprised, to be fair, that we saw a back 3 only away at Newcastle. Maybe it isn't anything too unusual. If you look at the stats from this game, it was just pure domination really from Newcastle. 18 shots to 5, 9 shots on target. We had 5 shots and 4 of them on target, but that's still not great. We had less possession than what we've done in most games with Ange, which again has been a bit of a trend. We've had more of the ball. We've had less of the ball here, and I don't really think that was on purpose. I just think it was because of how dominant Newcastle were, and we didn't really see that extremely high line that much either. But again, it's mainly just because Newcastle were just totally in control. We didn't really have many opportunities to push Newcastle back so we could even play a higher line. So we just ended up being forced back. You know, it was a bit more along the lines of what we saw last season at times, being a bit more defensive, but, you know, not really doing anything at all when we did get chances and getting far less of them. And yeah, that makes it redundant whether we're defending deeper. We're defending deeper because of how much we're being dominated. When it comes to Newcastle's first goal, people are claiming that there's a foul in the build-up. I think it's redundant, to be honest, because it was a matter of time before Newcastle scored that goal. And yeah, ultimately, again, Guimaraes was in a lot of space, a bit like the Zubimendi goal for Arsenal. Absolutely amazing strike. But we saw that in the first Premier League season. We conceded so many top-level goals from the edge of the box, but mainly because nobody was closing them down. So if you leave that space, you're going to concede those sort of goals. I don't really think it was a foul, to be fair, but great strike. But again, probably made too easy. And as I say, they also had a penalty. And again, that's what happens when you play out from the back and a team's putting pressure on you. You're going to be forced into mistakes. I don't think it was malicious from Anderson, but it was a bit reckless. It was basically a two-footed challenge trying to go for the ball. He ended up taking Guimaraes out. So, yeah, obviously we did see those changes on the hour mark pretty much. We saw Bakwa come on later on, but we saw Hudson-Odoi, Hutchinson and Jesus come on for Wood, Undoy and Yates. And yeah, it didn't really make a difference, did it, to be fair? I can't really remember many chances we had. Wood missed a sitter when he was on. Nico Williams had a good chance. It was just all a bit non-plus, really. Gibbs White had a free kick saved. I mean, Sells made some great saves, keeping us in it. I'm just, don't know what to say anymore. I'm just very deflated. Do we sack Ange? Like, where do we go from here? I was saying this the other week. I don't know where we go from here. I was saying after Sunderland, especially. What now? You know, we're in an international break now, which normally would be like, oh god, international break. But I actually think it's quite good because we don't have to watch Forest for 2 weeks. But it's also probably a good opportunity if Ange was to stay to drill everything into the players more. But I'm clutching at straws by saying that. I think it's probably more than ever a good opportunity to make a change, because you either make a change now and look really, really stupid and embarrassing making a change after 7 games, and we're only in October. The season started 2 months ago. So, less than 2 months ago. Really, really embarrassing having to do that, but I think it genuinely might be a case of needs must already, when the last 2 games we've had sacked in the morning sung at him. One of those games, it was, well, what was it, like 97% Forest fans in that stadium against Midtjylland, and they were the only ones that could have been singing that chant. That's not good at all when the home fans are doing that, and then singing the ex-manager's name, which I think is a bit too far, but even so, I don't know how a manager recovers from this sort of start when he was not a popular appointment to begin with, and then you've not won your first 7 games. We're 17th in the league. He came 17th last season with Spurs, who are and well, always will be a much more expensive side than us and high-profile side than us, and he made them finish 17th, albeit with injuries. Yes, they did have a lot of injuries, but they came 17th and lost 22 times, and they're meant to be Tottenham. They're meant to be a big 6 side, right? Well, currently we're 17th, and I don't think we've got anywhere near as much as a right to be like a top 6 side as. I mean, no one has a right to be up there, but we don't have. I don't really know what I'm trying to say here. We don't have so much of a expectation to be in the top 6, top 7. That was just a fluke last season for us to be that high. It really was, and we had to make the most of it. But the way it's crumbled like this is just unbelievable. I still think it's unacceptable to go from where we were to now suddenly being back in a relegation sort of scrap, and it's still early on in the season. If after the next round of fixtures before the November international break, we're still down there, I think you can absolutely say we're in a relegation scrap, even if it is just in the early stage of the season we can pull away. Right now, it's still kind of too early to seriously say that, but you're getting dangerously close to that sort of territory. And then when you look at the upcoming games, we thought today was going to be tough. It was tough. It wasn't as bad as we maybe thought it was going to be, but we still lost. We still lost ultimately. What is that? 5 defeats in 7. You look at the upcoming games, it's really, really tough for, I think, most managers, to be honest. Newcastle was obviously a game that was in this sort of bracket of tough games. After the international break, Chelsea, they've just beaten Liverpool. I know they had a bit of a wobble recently, but they're still miles clear of Forest. Even last season, Chelsea were probably still a better team than us. That's going to be extremely tough. Porto, if I think we're being honest, I think out of all the teams in the Europa League, they're probably one of the ones that wouldn't look out of their place in the Champions League. I think that's an extremely tough game. And it would have been, even if we had Nuno and it was going swimmingly, I don't think it would make a difference. That would have been tough. But I think with Ange, it's borderline impossible. Then Bournemouth, they're flying high right now, and we never beat Bournemouth at the best of times. And into November, Man United, obviously, they're also a mess, but they're actually kind of playing all right at the moment. And again, I don't know where the next win comes from. And it's Graz. Again, that won't be easy at all. It'll be a hostile environment. Maybe we'll be up for it a bit more in the Europa League away from home, but we weren't overly up for it against Midtjylland, were we? Or I think, to be fair, we were. The players were, the fans were, but the system certainly wasn't. Yeah, going forward, Leeds, Liverpool, Malmo, Brighton, it's all tough. Even Leeds, right? You know, Leeds are looking pretty solid. I saw Leeds yesterday. I watched that game against Spurs. Look how they were playing. They were tough to beat, hard to break down. They were compact. They knew what they were doing. That's Leeds, newly promoted side. What a give to have that sort of performance at Forest now. That's going to be very tough. So please, everyone, get your thoughts in the comments on this game. I'm probably more deflated than normal today, but I think most of us probably are. It's all quite deflating, and yeah, don't know what to say anymore. Like I say, get your thoughts in the comments, everyone. 2-0 defeat at Newcastle today. 7 without a win for Forest. 9, actually. It's all a mess, really, isn't it? Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe to Rads if you're new, because we're nearly at 7,000 subscribers. So that would cheer me up, and hopefully cheer you up as well for subscribing to this top level channel, obviously. And up the Reds.